Hello and welcome to episode 131 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Of course, I am your host, Rick Doherty. I'm excited for today's show because my good friend from all the way back in my Pennsylvania days, Danielle, will be here to talk about the first day of Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival from last week. There is a lot to discuss, so let's get to it. Welcome to the show, Danielle.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I am doing well. So we both had the chance, a few hours we spent together, but both of us went to the first day of Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival. It got started last week and it lasts until, I don't know, like 6 years from now. No, November 18th. So this is a very, very long-running festival. So if you are going to be at Walt Disney World in the next, 5 months, you're going to have a chance to try some of these items. And just let's get this out of the way before we start. It was Danielle's birthday the first day. So if a lot of her reviews are alcohol, it is not saying that that is her regular lifestyle. She was celebrating for the day. So I don't drink. So this will be a pleasant surprise to get some reviews of some of the alcoholic beverages in one of these festivals. First of all, happy birthday. Second of all, let's start with some of the things that aren't food booths, because you did do a few other things that were part of the festival, like Remy's Scavenger Hunt, which is Remy scattered throughout all of Epcot, and he has a different cooking utensil with him or an ingredient, and you go around all of Epcot, you get the stickers, but let's be honest, they let you get the prize even if you haven't finished it yet, and you got a really cool prize this year. I saw yours, you showed it to me, but I saw some other people with different characters on their bags. So why don't you describe what you got for the scavenger hunt?
So yeah, I mean, other years they've given you like the plastic plates and cup sets or just some things that were kind of useful, but this year it was like an insulated lunch bag. So what a perfect thing to do, honestly, because 2 for 1. How many times have you gotten stuff from the World Showcase and you're like, man, I really wish I could take this home, and you're afraid it's going to go bad before you even get home. So the one I got Figment, of course, because how many times are you going to see Figment on, one of these prizes? They also had Remy. I think they had Mickey Mouse, and then this year Encanto was kind of like really some of the base products were Encanto themed, which I really liked. But what's interesting, we were talking to somebody in Italy, and the guy was talking to us about how one of the Remy's is in within hand's reach this year, which makes all of the cast members very nervous because they're afraid Remy is going to go missing in one of the countries.
Ooh,
So
yeah. Ooh.
quite a
Drinking
few
around the
times it
world,
seems.
and yeah, ouch. That actually is not a good thing. You mentioned Encanto being on a lot of the merchandise, and if you check
Yes.
the YouTube channel, I have some videos and I show a ton of the merchandise, but you got something really, really cute. Why don't you talk about that?
So I inadvertently have been getting things here and there for my house. I saw they were like glass measuring spoons with all the Encanto characters on each spoon. Very nicely put together, something I can use over and over again and not have to worry about the numbers chipping off of them or anything. I mean, of course, be careful because they could break, but that was one of my cute little finds. Now they did have more houseware stuff inside like the bigger store, but like the gems, the diamond and the roughs are at the little places inside World Showcase. Like all the little stands have, I feel like they have better merchandise than what's actually in the big Epcot store.
And just if anybody wants to know, that scavenger hunt is called Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak. And if you like scavenger hunts, coming up closer to Halloween, they're going to do Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit as well. So they're going to throw in another scavenger hunt as part of the festival. So that will be cool. But now let's start talking about that food. That is what everybody wants to know. We're going to go through the food in the order of the festival passport. So if you want to make notes when you get your festival passport at the park, you can just sort of slide them in right there in your passport. And we did notice that there weren't very many that first day, but it looks like there was something they had to black out. Like there was a sticker that they had to put on one of the booths, like something changed. So my guess is once they get them reprinted, they'll have tons of books at the front of the park as normal. So the first thing that I got that's listed here is from the booth Flavors from Fire. And this was usually a very meat intensive booth. So I was surprised that they put the Impossible Burger slider here this year. This has wasabi cream, spicy Asian slaw on a sesame seed bun. It is vegan. And that actually was confusing some people who were in line because the guy in front of me was like, "Oh, I'll take the burger sliders." And the cast member was like, "I just want you to know that's vegan. Did you realize that?" And he's like, "Oh, no, I didn't. Never mind. I don't." So this is usually a very meat intensive. The other items here are smoked corned beef, chimichurri marinated skirt steak taco, and there is a spiced chocolate tart as well. But they don't have the regular Impossible booth that they've had in past years. So they've more spread out a lot of these plant-based dishes. Once again, I thought the Impossible Burger slider was one of the best things I had, if not the best. They just cook this perfectly and make it taste like it's an actual burger. If that cast member wouldn't have told that guy, he might not have been able to tell. It's obviously much leaner than a regular burger, but he might have thought they just used a really lean cut and they probably could have gotten away with it. So you went crazy at the fry basket here, and you got the pickle fries and
Oh
the
yeah,
fry flight, correct?
absolutely.
So this fry flight had sea salt and malt vinegar fries, barbecue
Which kind of
bacon fries with smoked aioli, and sweet potato casserole fries. So what I want you to do right now is rank those three in the order that you liked them.
oh, that's so hard because I feel like the barbecue bacon fries were kind of more like your disco fries, you know? So that was kind of something I was used to, but I think I'd have to say the sweet potato casserole fries were kind of my favorite because something about that melted marshmallow cream really set it off. My least favorite had to have been the sea salt and malt vinegar fries. With me, if I'm going to put malt vinegar on a fry, it's got to be like a spray and not like a soak. I felt like the fries were soaked in it,
It
which kind of ruined
definitely
it for
like
me.
goes to the bottom too. So the ones that you get at
Yeah.
the end are much saltier and much more vinegary. All right, what were the pickle fries like?
So what'll be funny for maybe people who listen who are from Pennsylvania, like there are these pickle fries from Rutter's Farm Store that I always used to get all the time, and they really resembled those fries. The only thing that set it apart was the dill ranch that they had to dip it in, which we got on the side, and they were okay with doing that. That I thought those were really good, and the ranch just set it off.
Oh, okay. So instead of them putting it on top, which was what they were intending, you asked for it on the side.
Yep, so I could dip it when I wanted to, so I didn't run out.
And I'll say I didn't get in the first week the Adobe Yucca fries, which are another plant based option at this booth. The pickle fries are not plant based. In the fry flight, the only one that's plant based is the sea salt and malt vinegar fries. But they also have the Adobe Yucca fries with garlic, cilantro, aioli. I didn't get them the first week of the festival, but I have gotten them in past festivals, and they are really, really good as well. I would just recommend taking the time to go to the fry basket because you can get something really substantial. And I think that's kind of important because you get a lot of sweet things when you're walking around a theme park. So if you can get something that has a little more bite to it. Then I went to the Brew Wing Lab at the Odyssey. This is actually a place where Danielle and I went together. What was the drink that you got? The frozen fusion, right?
Yeah, I got that one, which was pretty interesting. It's the Twinings pomegranate and raspberry herbal tea, which was fused with orange ice cream molecules, they call them. So this was like a lab themed um base menu basically. So the molecules were actually what I think it is sherbet Dippin' Dots. So it was a layer of that iced tea with the Dippin' Dots, and then they did another layer of the slush with the Dippin' Dots on top. So it was really good actually. I thought it was going to be super sweet, but it was actually really refreshing.
So, a couple things. One, during Epcot's International Flower and Garden Festival, the last festival, they actually had a tea tour at the UK pavilion where I found out I was doing this wrong myself. It's actually Twinings is the name of the tea, not
Oh,
Twinnings.
is it?
Who
I thought it
knew,
was
right?
sweet.
I took the tour, and that was one of the things that I found out in that tour. You gave me a little bit of a taste of this. Now, I didn't get the Dippin' Dots because I just had a very, very little taste, but it was really good and really refreshing. And it was so hot at Epcot the day we were there
Yeah.
that this is definitely the type of non alcoholic drink you're going to want to pick up when you're like, you've made it one lap around World Showcase and you just want something to sit inside the Odyssey building. This booth is inside and enjoy some air conditioning, enjoy a refreshing beverage. So I think
Yeah,
this
I
is
feel
almost
like
the perfect dish, and
it
you get to
is.
keep the cup.
Like, I don't know about you, but like some other places that I go, like even in Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, the slush is usually too sweet. Like my 9-year-old will never finish the drink because it's too sweet. This is enough that it actually quenches your thirst and you're not like, it's making me sick to my stomach because it's too sweet.
I think that's what the tea does. I think the tea keeps
Yeah.
it from being overly sweet. I went and tried the pickle milkshake. This is also non alcoholic. And every year there's a thing that they want you to try because it's weird and it'll look fun on Instagram. I thought I would try it. I did not hate it. It was pretty good. Essentially, it just tasted like a vanilla milkshake, but maybe it had a little twinge of saltiness in the background, but it wasn't like an overwhelming taste of pickle or anything. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm a sucker for things like that. If it looks fun, I'm going to try it. But they also had two really good plant based options here, especially if you like spicy. They have the buffalo Brussels sprouts with plant based blue cheese and plant based ranch. They were really good. I had them the past couple years at the Food and Wine Festival. This is a recurring dish that I really like. Very spicy, but not even close to as spicy as the Impossible Buffalo Chicken Tenders with plant based blue cheese, plant based ranch, and celery. These things were spicy as all heck. While I really liked them, I'm not usually expecting something I get at Disney to be this spicy, so it kind of caught me off guard. And now when I get them for future visits, I'll probably be a little more prepared. Yeah, just be ready for that. And then as we would continue through World Showcase, there's the Noodle Exchange, which has some really good ramen. There's like a Thai shrimp. There's going to be an Impossible pork ramen this year. There's a shaved beef ramen. I've always liked the ramen with tofu, but that does not open until August 15th. They've sort of delayed a couple of these booths more, I think, to give people a reason to have to come back. Like if everybody rushes on the first day of the festival, they want to give you excuses to have to go back later. But you did get some drinks at the Mexico Pavilion, correct?
Yes, I did. I got the Trouble in Paradise margarita, which is the illegal mezcal, cambier watermelon liqueur, rosé wine, lime juice, and agave with a chili lime powdered rim.
Okay, so
Now,
I imagine this chili lime powdered rim had to do a lot of heavy lifting because that sounds
yes,
really, really sweet to me.
it is, but what I wasn't expecting, the salt there the around the rim had like a smoke taste to it.
Okay.
So it kind of like confused me when I went to take a first sip and I was like getting this smoky sweet taste. Surprisingly enough, like it was really good. It was really good. It just it was an interesting combination. Very
Okay.
strong too. So if you're not a liquor person, I wouldn't get it. It was very strong first drink.
Well, that's what you want from a first drink at what, 10 o'clock in the morning in Epcot, and
Right.
it's 100
Right.
degrees outside. So that's always good to get a nice, strong alcoholic beverage. I find that I get so frustrated that I can never do the China Pavilion because it's almost always all meat items. There is a
Yeah.
passion fruit bubble tea that I will probably try at some time during the festival. You got some more alcohol in India. What did you pick up there?
So in India, we got the Sola Brew. It's a tropical sparkling wine. It was a little more of a dry wine than really a sweet wine. So if you kind of like the blush wines, you'll be okay. But if you're looking for something sweet, it's definitely not that sweet. But it was a good taste to it, pretty bubbly if you like the bubbles. So it was a good refreshing drink, I think, for a hot day.
This India booth returned last year, 2022, and there is a lot of good stuff there. The potato and pea samosas are plant based and they're really good. The curry spiced crispy cheese. You don't necessarily think of Indian food and cheese, but they do have some cheeses that are fairly common and fairly popular there. And that's a good item. And then the chicken tikka masala. Courtney really liked that when she had it last year. I'm hoping it is fairly similar this year. The Kenya booth is back, but it doesn't have the plant based option, which kind of upsets me. But they have the spicy Githeri at Refreshment Outpost. I haven't had this year's version, but I can't imagine that they messed with it very much. I mean, it's beans and peas and curry and rice. Like there's not a whole lot you can do with it. And it is a little spicy. It's not nearly as spicy as anything in the Brewing Odyssey building, but it's good. And I like that one. And we're almost halfway throughout the festival booths already. Not quite halfway through World Showcase, but Germany. Being from central Pennsylvania, you had to try some of this because you're used to the Pennsylvania Dutch food in Pennsylvania. You got the apple strudel. I've had this in past years. Does it still hold up this year? Is it still just as good?
Oh yeah, actually, this was my first time trying actual food from there because usually I just get the desserts, you know. But this time I decided to do the bratwurst on a pretzel roll, and it actually had like a tangy like Grey Poupon like mustard, which was really good. When I found out going through Living with the Land, they use the mustard like from that area, I guess,
Oh,
to make
cool.
their mixture, like the little topping that goes on top of it, which was awesome. Everything comes full circle. I also had the apple strudel with vanilla sauce, which it wasn't too cakey, like the filling was just right, and the vanilla sauce wasn't too sweet. It was like a fluffy mousse almost. It was pretty good.
Interesting. I've had it in past years, so I really want to get the chance to try it one of these days to see if it is the same as past years or if they've changed it up a little bit. You made it sound like maybe they did change it up just a little bit. And then as we continue to move around World Showcase, usually I don't care what festival it is, the Italy booth to me, food wise, is just way too expensive for things that I can get like at the grocery store for not that much money and do a pretty good job of cooking them myself. So you skipped the food though, but this was your birthday. So what was the alcoholic drink you got there?
So I tried the it was the Italian margarita they called it. It was with tequila and limoncello. It was very dry. I'm gonna put that out there. It looks very pretty. They have it on display at the end of the they have like a whole cart set up and they're like, it's the red one right there. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it looks really good. It is very dry. So if you're looking for something sweet, this is not it.
Okay, but that's good to know because sometimes people are looking for something really dry when they're doing this. The
Yeah.
Flavors of America is new this year. They've sort of changed up what they're doing for food and wine in the American Adventure. I did not try any of this. I'm going to make sure I go with somebody who eats meat so that we can go through all four of these items and see exactly what we think about them. But then over in Japan, you got something that sounds amazing for the meat eaters, and that's the beef wagyu don, traditional Japanese rice bowl with American wagyu beef and steamed white rice. This had to be amazing.
Oh, it was really good. It was really you could tell with Wagyu beef like the different taste and texture to it. But with this, it actually what it doesn't say on here is that there was like it was almost like a beef gravy that was mixed in with it. So it made the rice not dry or anything, had a really good taste to it and flavor. It's such a small bowl. I wish it would be like a bigger option for you to get because that was probably one of my favorites yesterday.
So, like I said, the day we were there was the first day of the festival, and they were still running through some kinks. So, when I went to the Greece Pavilion, I wanted to get the plant based Impossible Moussaka and the griddled cheese. The griddled cheese is with pistachios and honey. This is a returning item. This is a favorite of the festival. It's really great. The honey and the pistachios make it like a little bit sweet, and then they burn a layer on top of the cheese. So it kind of makes this hard crusted layer, and you cut through it, and all those flavors together just bam, awesome. So I got that, but they told me that they only make the plant-based Impossible Moussaka like on shifts. They would only make it like every hour or so. But then when I went back later
Oh,
to get it, they were like, I don't know what they were talking about. You can get it at any time. So I got the plant-based Impossible Moussaka. It was pretty good. The Impossible Burger, once again, tasted like real meat. It doesn't taste like an artificial meat like some of them. This was not my favorite item by any means, but there was maybe a little bit of brown sugar in it or something that made it a tiny bit sweet. It was good, not my favorite, however. Tangerine Cafe Flavors of the Medina, I didn't get the chance to go, but the pistachio cake is back, and that is something that I would recommend to everybody because it is a dessert that is sweet, but is not one of those, like, I say Smarties sweet. The sweetness all comes from the actual ingredients and not them just pumping sugar into it. So that's one that I always love. The Belgium booth was packed, absolutely jam packed when I tried to go there. I've had the Belgian waffles in the past. They have one with chocolate and they have one with a berry compote. They're both really good, but you know what you're getting. It's a waffle. And I know a lot of people like the beer braised beef there, so I understand why it's popular. I also tried to go to the Brazil booth, and I waited in line for about 15 minutes. And when I got to the front of the line, they said, if you're looking for the Brazilian cheese bread, it's going to be 15 minutes. So I waited for 15 minutes, and then when I got to the front of the line, they said it was going to be another 15. This is probably the most popular item at the festival for like your everyday guest because it's crispy and flaky on the outside, but then you break it open and it's just this gooey cheese on the inside. It's so good, but it's very, very popular and they just blew through it. Neither of us took the time to go to France. That's another booth that is just always so packed. No matter what the festival, you can never get to the France booth. So I will definitely be doing it. This festival doesn't have any of my like favorites from the France booth. I really like in the other festival the mushroom croissant, which doesn't sound like it should be
Oh
good,
yeah.
but it is really, really good. And they have a creme brulee beignet at one of the festivals, which is one of the best things you will ever have in your entire life. Because I am obsessed with my Irish heritage, I did go to the Ireland booth. But since I am a very rare Irish person, I do not eat meat or seafood and I do not drink. So the only option I have at that booth is the warm chocolate pudding cake with Irish cream liqueur custard. Obviously, the liqueur gets cooked off. When I bit into this, it felt like I was swallowing lava. It was so hot on the inside. So you might want to take your fork, split it in half, kind of let the Epcot World Showcase air, the breeze off World Showcase Lagoon kind of cool down that center because it was like hot lava. It was insane. All right, continuing around and the Canada booth, did you try either the very popular Canadian cheddar and bacon soup or the Canadian filet mignon?
No, so we wanted to do the Canadian filet mignon. That was like on our list, and we just never got around to do it. However, this is what provokes another trip to this World Showcase is trying
Right.
to hit the things that we didn't get to try.
The Hawaii booth is another one of them that will be opening later. It's opening August 15th. I did not do the Australia booth. I don't think you did either. But we both did
Mm-mm.
shimmering sips.
Yes,
What did you get there?
I got the mimosa flight.
Of course, you got the mimosa flight like a champion.
The mimosa flight had the tropical mimosa, which was a sparkling Minute Maid passion fruit orange and guava, which if you know those combos, that juice combination is what they sell it. Well, they give it to you at Boma or they give it to you at Polynesian when you're there for breakfast. So they just kind of mix that with alcohol is what it sounds like.
Oh,
The berry
awesome.
mimosa was with a berry fizz. Right. So the berry mimosa was with a berry fizz sparkling wine and white cranberry juice, which was pretty good. I think my favorite of all three of them was the blood orange mimosa. And it's just blood orange juice with the sparkling wine. It is very simple, very good. If I had to rank them, I would say blood orange was my favorite, followed by the tropical, and then the berry was in the last seat. They also have these cool little corksicle stemless flutes you can take around. Now, they don't refill them, but that doesn't mean that you can't put some of your drinks in there and use it throughout the day. Keeps it nice and cold.
Right. And they have a plant based guava cake with whipped cream and coconut. And that's actually really good. Every year that continues to come back, I'm very excited because it's always good to have some more of those vegan options. So, as I continue to go through the festival passport, it's at Refreshment Port that if you look really closely, Danielle, as you go through, there's a sticker here that they had to change this
Yes.
one. This is why they didn't have a lot of these passports, I imagine. They had to make a change here. So I'm hoping that they can order a whole bunch of new passports. And then as the festival continues, there won't be such a shortage. Because, like, you need them if you're doing, for example, Emil's Fromage Montage, where you get 5 of these cheese based items and then you get a completer surprise. I only have one checked off now, but I will get 5 of them by the end of the festival. And you need a festival passport to do those kind of things. So I'm thinking that's why they were so
Yeah.
limited on the first day.
I didn't even notice that until I was kind of panning through. I'm like, oh, the big sticker on that part.
And it is almost impossible to try to peel it off because I wanted to see what was actually there, but Disney did a really good
Yeah.
job of making sure you can't see that. Opening September 2nd, they're going to have Swirled Showcase, which is going to have some like a liquid nitro cake, soft serve waffle cone, some things like that. There will be the Char and Chop opening September 22nd, the same day as Wine and Wedge. So there are definitely some more booths coming to this festival, along with, we mentioned the scavenger hunt, but there's also the Eat to the Beat concert series. They're doing that a little differently than in past years. In past years, it was almost always like a big national artist every day. Now it seems like they're doing basically the weekends are national
Yeah.
artists, and during the week they are doing cover bands. And I got to see a cover band there. I think they were called, oh boy, what was it? Like, they were called Funkified, and they did a whole bunch of like disco and funk hits. But whoever was the kid, and this guy was young, like, he was an adult, but he was a young adult. And he was the guy they had to do all their James Brown songs. This
Yeah.
guy was phenomenal. He just like blew the lid off the place. So that was fun. Got to get off my feet a little bit on a hot day. Over the course of the festival, they're having Tiffany, the Baha Men, Ray Parker Jr., Toby Mac, 98 Degrees. Boys to Men are going to be there for 4 days. That is going to
What?
be insane. It will be packed. So if you want to take advantage of that, make sure you get there really early, get a spot, because it is going to be crowded. Mark Wills, Sugar Ray, Hoobastank, Billy Ocean, Hanson, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. There is just a ton of stuff happening at the Eat to the Beat concert series. Danielle, first of all, it's always great that we pretty much spend the first day of every festival together, so I love that. This also happened to be your birthday, so that made it even more special. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend.
This has been episode 131 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Next Thursday, I'm thrilled to have Sarah Says returning to the podcast for the first time in months. She has been very busy, and I've been getting a lot of people asking me if there is something wrong. Sarah is a mom and a great mom, and she gives us her time whenever possible. Sarah and I will be talking about Disney's California Adventure in that episode next week. Until then, have a great week.